In March of 2017, I started my first print-on-demand shop, and now it's March of 2024, believe it or not. So I'm doing print-on-demand for 7 years now. I was going to make a video about the journey I went through, what platforms I was on, how was print-on-demand in the past 7 years, lessons I've learned, and I thought to myself, maybe people have some questions. So I posted on the Facebook group, on the newsletter, on Patreon, and even on the community tab here on the channel if you guys have any questions for me for this video. And to my surprise, all the questions that you guys asked were actually covering all the topics that I wanted to talk about. So I guess it kind of gave me this like really nice frame for this video. Before we get started, I would like to add two things. One, you guys rule. Your questions, most of them were spot on. I feel like you guys know me in a way. And two, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Veo and I teach creative people how to sell their art online. And I've been selling print on demand for 7 years this month. For those of you who don't know, I started selling online many years before that. I think my first blog was somewhere around 2012, and I started doing affiliate marketing a lot for AliExpress, for Amazon, for Etsy, for a lot of other companies. And I've been online for a long time. I've taught myself how to build websites. I've taught others how to build websites, and I feel like I was doing a lot of this while having a full-time job working in the tech and media industry. And in 2015, I left my last position, my last job earlier that year and started my online freelancing business, which was all about creating content for other companies, building websites for other people, doing graphics for other people, and consulting on a lot of the things that I've learned along the years when I was an affiliate marketer. Because when you affiliate so many Etsy stores and you see which ones sell and which one don't, you tend to realize how a store should look like, how a product should look like to actually make sales. I was doing consulting for a very long time. And of course, in 2017, opened my first print-on-demand store. And I was doing that. I was doing a lot of things along the way of that, but I feel like, again, I would like to cover that up with your questions because your questions were super spot on. I feel like my microphone is in my face too much. Now, I gave you guys two options for your questions. One is to display them openly, whether it's on Facebook, Substack, Patreon, or the YouTube community tab, and the other one was the Google form, and I learned that more people appreciate being anonymous with their questions. I would like to apologize for not covering everything that you asked. One, because so many people submitted. Two, because some questions I didn't understand really, and they were anonymous, so I didn't really have anyone to ask. And three, a lot of people asked about platforms that I've never tried before. So instead of just saying, sorry, I can't help you with, what was it, print doors or other stuff, yeah, I can't answer that question. Now, just like every first of the month tradition, this video will also include a small part at the end about my goals throughout March, and I think it's a nice reminder to work on your goals. One side note before we get started, whenever I make a Google form for people to submit their opinion, their requests, their whatever, I get a lot of nasty comments or questions, and I ignore them. This time I decided to put two of them inside. Okay, let's get started. First one. Hey May, love your content. I remember you started with Redbubble here on YouTube, but I was wondering what was your first platform for print on demand and why you started print on demand. So my first platform for print on demand was actually Society6. I feel like this is so counterintuitive to the fact that I started the channel with Redbubble and then I did a video on how to do Society6 for people coming from Redbubble. So a lot of people thought that Redbubble was my first one. No, it wasn't. Society6 was my first. To be honest, I got back from Thailand. This was early 2017. I was in a very bad medical condition. I was heavily depressed because of that medical condition, and I wasn't able to work with clients or to do any of my work. I was neglecting my affiliate blogs, and I don't even know how I stumbled onto Society6, but I signed up and I tried uploading something, and it was pretty. Seeing something that I did on a product was pretty. And that feeling of this is pretty was the best thing in my life at that moment. Like, I don't know if If it's a bad thing or a good thing, I would like to think it's a good thing because I had something nice finally to do. But that kept my mind occupied a little bit. And that's why I started Print on Demand because look, that's pretty. It wasn't, I need to leverage something to make money. It wasn't even the fact that I was in a very terrible financial state back then. I wasn't working with clients. It was literally because, look, this is pretty. And I feel like this is also kind of the vibe of the channel in some ways, or the vibe of the people that I attract, where it's the feeling first, it's a creative outlet first. I know a lot of people who watch this channel, and I actually ran statistics on seeing like who watches this channel, who's subscribed. Did you know that the majority of the people who watch this channel are aged 45 and up? Yeah, I think it's a lot of people who are looking for something to do with their spare time. And I think it's a lot of people who have their thing, who have their job, and are looking for something nice to do, something fun to do. A lot of people who just want to design something because they want it, and there is big value in that. And that is often what translates into money at the end of the day. That's just my 2 cents. Second question: did you ever sell print on demand over on Etsy? I remember you said something like that in the past, but I'm not sure. So I did integrate Printful with Etsy. I also had Guten with Etsy. So with Printful, this was, wow, 2019, I think, or 2020. And for a brief moment before the health crisis in 2020, I was selling customized mugs or customizable mugs where people would send me a photo of what they want on a mug. Like I remember I had like these hearts on a mug and a bunch of other really cool, funny mug designs. And I also had a shop with Guten, and that shop kind of made me realize that this is sort of not for me. They had this like magnet set. I think it was 5 magnets because I remember this was LGBTQ magnet. So there was like LOVE in rainbow colors, and there was also a heart. And someone ordered this from Germany. And I remember literally for a week and a half obsessing about this. Did they get it? Did they not get it? Did they like it? Did they not like it? Because I didn't have this product in my hand to ship. And I was so obsessed about this. This was really emotionally difficult for me at that time. And for anyone who wants to judge that and this is easy for you, go ahead, have fun. For me, this was exhausting. This was one of the reasons why I leaned more towards selling printables because I have sold many printables on Etsy throughout the years. And it's also one of the reasons why I was avoiding selling on my own shops for a while and only selling on marketplaces where the customer support or the liability or everything is with the marketplace. Next question: why so many people recommend Printful or Printify when there are so many other cheaper suppliers from China? There are. I think I covered a lot of them in this channel. There was also a lot of them that I didn't cover. And I feel like the biggest thing would be the packaging. And I'm not talking about, you sell with Printful, so you get a custom box of your own. No, I'm talking about the packaging in terms of when it comes from China, it looks like someone kicked it. It's in this gray, disgusting bag, and it has a bunch of Chinese on it, which to someone who's buying it from an English speaking store, that can look weird. I'm not saying it's bad to source from China, but what I've seen is that there have been a lot of issues with the packaging. There have also been issues with communication. And that was personally for me. Whenever I was talking to one of these Chinese companies, it was really difficult. We were having a conversation. I was asking a question, and the answer was ha 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 and 7 emojis. And yeah, that doesn't answer my question. And because I'm super paranoid about this being shipped, my connection with the supplier, being able to talk to the supplier, was a big thing for me. A big thing for me. So that's why I don't often recommend cheap Chinese stuff. There was another company that I bought from, I do not remember which one, whether it was like 99 Designs or another one, that I literally got a cockroach wrapped inside the product. Not a living cockroach, but this wasn't any shipping problem. This cockroach was wrapped inside a t shirt from the factory. Like there is no words. Not to mention the quality would be inconsistent. So my recommendation and something that I wanted to do if I ever decide this is my home, I'm going to live here for the rest of my life, would be to test order some stuff from China and then bulk order them and then sell them yourself from you as the person who is wrapping everything and shipping everything. And I might make a video about that if and when I decide to do that, or if I consider doing that. And by the way, I don't think I ever recommended Printify that much. I think a lot of people have noticed that I'm not really recommending Printify. I personally didn't have good experience with them, so I'm not one of those who recommend Printify, by the way. Next question. I'd like to know which marketplace have you had the most success in, or have you been more successful with your own website? Okay, so for that, I need to list the list of marketplaces that I've been on. So we have Society6, and this is by no means by order. Society6, Redbubble, TeePublic, Zazzle, InPrint, Fine Art America, Displayed. I think I had a shop on Threadless. There are probably others that I don't remember. I just found out I have a shop on Spoonflower. There were a lot of those that I opened for, like, because people asked me from the channel, and I haven't done much with them. Most of my success came from having my own blog, not from having my own website where I'm selling, but from having my own blog. And in that blog, I'm referring to products that I'm selling. That has been my biggest success when it comes to, like, generally the amount of money. And I actually always had a problem with selling on my own. And it's not just the stress part, it's also that, but it's also a logistical issue that is divided into two parts. And in this, I would like to say in advance, I do not require tax advice. And if you think that what I'm about to tell you is not true, then it might not be true in your country based on your business. My business setup is for digital services, which means that I get paid by clients for digital services. When I design for TeePublic, Society6, Redbubble, the money I get is not for the products, it's for designing, it's a commission. And there is also no direct expense relating to that. Now, as a business, I can have expenses, of course. This camera is a business expense. This microphone is a business expense. Every domain that I purchase is a business expense. My laptop is a business expense. However, because my business is labeled as digital services, I cannot expense every single item I sell. I can expense 10, 20 products a month for the YouTube channel, but I cannot expense literally every t-shirt or product I sell. So if I sell 400 products a month, I cannot expense that with the category of my existing business. For those of you who are telling me, no, this is a business expense, well, you don't know my business. You don't know what country it's being managed in. There are many people who do this differently because their business is a shop and they can expense those things. I cannot. So what will happen if I be successful selling on my own stuff, paying the suppliers myself, would be that I'd end up paying taxes on my overall income and not on my profits, which might end up actually losing me money. I can change that by opening a different type of business, but I haven't been in my country for a while. So that can't happen. The second logistical issue has always been my credit card. And here I have a good example. It's not a print on demand, but it was drop shipping. So I was in Thailand this was in 2018. I was in Thailand many times. But this was 2018. I was living in Bangkok. And I had a friend who worked for a social media marketing agency. We had another friend who was a freelancer, and we were playing around with Shopify. Like I was playing around with his Shopify for a client to find something there. And one day I went downstairs. I didn't really feel like working. I went to the coffee shop, like right next to our apartment complex. And that friend who worked for the agency apparently had a day off. So we were sitting there and we were like, oh, we have a day off. That's so nice. We're so bored. And then I don't remember which one of us said, let's open a dropshipping Shopify store. So we decided that we're not going to get up until we make a sale. We're literally going to sit at that coffee shop from the beginning. She picked a niche relating to travel. I picked a niche relating to mermaids. 2018 May, come on. And we both sat down and integrated with Oberlo and opened a drop shipping store on Shopify. Neither of us got up till we made our first sale, and we made our first sale, what was it? I think 9 or 10 hours after that. And the thing is that I made that first sale and then I had to pay rent. I went to the ATM, and to my surprise, I couldn't withdraw money from my credit card because I was maxed out for the month, for my credit for the month. Again, this is an Israeli credit card in Thailand. If you don't understand how that can happen and you have an American credit card, then yeah, you don't understand how that can happen. So I realized that for some reason, everything that I was withdrawing in cash that was supposed to come out of my account came out of my credit card credit. And the credit card credit was also something that was paying for the products of the dropshipping. And the credit card limit was very small. It was about $750 a month, which I had no problem with because I was taking out cash the entire time. And I can only change my credit card limit by going to the bank. That was the moment that I closed my store because I realized I would literally not have money to pay rent. I mean, I would have money, but I would not have access to my money. That problem has been resolved very lately. In the past few months, I have found a way to do all of these things. And then I discovered Fourthwall. So I never actually started trying them because I'm doing it already with Fourthwall. I already have my own shop and I don't have to change my business classification. I don't have to have problems or change with my taxes, and I don't have to have anything sit on my credit card. So pretty much when my problem was resolved, I found something that would have solved it retroactively 3 years ago. I can't believe it took me 3 years to realize that Fourthwall exists. I've always had more success selling on marketplaces because I almost never had my own independent store for too long for print on demand. Printables is a totally different business. Etsy and printables made me a lot of money throughout the years. And now, actually, it's really nice having your own store. I mean, it's really nice making $6 or $7 a t-shirt instead of two and still selling it in the same price and having better quality and the customers getting it from a better fulfillment center. So I think if you ask me this question in a year, it will change. Moving on to a question that a lot of people actually ask me: why did you leave Fine Art America? Because I made a glowing recommendation about them. Do you think now we have a better alternative for it in terms of audience, or were the products not good? So I found out about Fine Art America, I think a little bit before I started the channel. And I really like the fact that they had that white label website. Again, a way for me to sell things on my own website without competition, because I plan on bringing my audience. But the buyer is going to pay the company and I'm just going to get commission. Again, that was like the perfect combination for me. And for a while there, this was the perfect solution. And it wasn't just a place for me to sell, it was also something for me to do. Because Fine Art America is heavily reliant on photos, I decided that I'm going to go back to photography. Photography used to be something that I loved many years ago. And back then I was back home. And this was one of the worst anxiety times in my life. Literally, I would order groceries online because I couldn't even go to a store to buy a pack of cigarettes or to buy a pack of gum. It wasn't even about carrying stuff. I just really had a lot of issues with leaving the house. And I remember there were like cactuses blooming around us, like blossoming the flowers. And I went out to take a photo of those. And then I realized that I don't know if anybody here has anxiety and depression, but you kind of can kind of connect to your work brain when you're working, and that kind of goes on top of your other brain. So I literally found myself being able to leave the house a lot more because I'm doing photography. And that was amazing for me. And then I came to Bansko. That was 2021 May that I came to Bansko, Bulgaria, and the fields here and everything here was so beautiful. And I was also getting a lot more money for me to test out my own products for me and for the channel. The thing is, the shipping costs of Fine Art America are insane. Like, they're high if you're in America, but they're insane if you're not in the US. And I was also hearing a lot of people saying that whatever they order from the US comes with UPS and it gets stuck because there is no UPS in Bulgaria. Like the daughter company or the other service is really messed up, and it's like 50 euros just to like talk to them about your package. So I never got to ordering packages from Fine Art America, but I did get to work with a lot of other companies who either sent me products for free or I was ordering from Printful, which was in a fulfillment center in Latvia, and everything came here in like a week or a week and a half. And then I broke my coccyx bone. At the beginning, I told myself, okay, I'm going to use this downtime to work on my store, but I literally couldn't sit. For a while there, I couldn't even sit. And just looking at that store made me depressed, made me think about, oh, I was able to walk outside in nature. It just made me depressed. I didn't know how severe it's going to be. I didn't know how long it's going to last. And I ended up getting an iPad because if I can't work standing up, which is something that I had to learn, along the years, and that's why I started my work online or working for offices. And now I can't work sitting down. I need to find a way to work lying down majority of the time. So, hey, an iPad. With the iPad came Procreate. With Procreate came my love for liquid art and illustration. And photography became a thing of the past. And the more I saw how Fine Art America is geared towards photographers, and the more that I got other merch from other companies, the more I kind of let it go. Do I think that this is still a good platform for people? I think that every platform that you make money in is a good platform for you. I actually did order some of their products and they came in nice quality, really nice quality. But for an illustrator, I wouldn't go with Fine Art America. I think that the product variety is a little bit different, obviously, than what I want to sell. For me, it stopped fitting. If it fits you and you make money from it, go ahead. If you don't make money with a certain platform, whether it's Fine Art America or any other platform, there are two reasons for that. One, you are the problem, your designs, your profit margins, your marketing. Or two, this is not the right platform for you. So I really can't answer that for anyone else if I would recommend it or not, because I know people who are making money from Fine Art America, and I know people who failed in that and are making money in other platforms. Okay. This would be a nice one. I need to drink water first. Remember I told you there will be nasty comments? Here we go. Hi, Meg. By the way, I got a lot of hey, Meg. Hi, Meg. I'm not even sure what to ask. It seems that no matter what people ask you, you just talk about being disabled to get clicks or likes or something. Even the hoodies video, somehow you had to bring in that you have cystiofibrosis. Why? So people will click on your hoodies affiliate link and you can get more money. Well, I guess I did have a question. LOL. Okay. I chose the order of the questions here. Do you think that I could have answered the question about Fine Art America without mentioning anything? So I started Fine Art America because I liked that it helps me with something, and then I stopped because something happened. That would have been my answer if I had to take all of my medical condition outside of the question. That would have been my answer. Also, I don't have cystiofibrosis. I don't think it's a. Do you mean cystic fibrosis? I have fibromyalgia, along with spinal injuries and a bunch of other fun stuff. And in the hoodies video, I was talking about how the hoodies feel on me. For those of you who don't have fibromyalgia, you don't know the difference between how you feel inside clothes with or without fibromyalgia. And to sit here and ignore fibromyalgia and tell you, oh, this hoodie is super comfortable would be a lie. And to tell you that this hoodie is shit because it hurts my neck is not going to be reflecting the truth either, unless you know that I have fibro and literally this is an area that will hurt me. I really need to cut off this sweatshirt. I was holding off cutting off this sweatshirt until I make the embroidery video, but I have. So now it's time to cut it off. Wrap it off. And in fact, I got a lot of people who like the fact that I mentioned the fibromyalgia score. One, because they have fibromyalgia. Two, they might have an audience that has fibromyalgia. Three, knowing that something is more sensitive or more suitable for sensitive people is a great thing if you have a shop dedicated to elderly people or for pregnant women or for anyone with high or low blood pressure or any kind of chronic illness. And yes, you do need to know how to talk about a product if you want to make a sale on your own shops. I also got plenty of DMs from people asking me to mention the fibromyalgia score in every single product review video that I do from now on. There was also, if you guys remember, the video I did about why all my Etsy shops failed, which was a very personal video. Back then I was doing everything on a live premiere. This video was not on a live premiere because it was super sensitive for me. And it goes over a lot of mental things. And a lot of people found it relatable because they thought that they were the only one who suddenly got depression and closed their Etsy store. So what does that have to do with it? So that video relates to people who have these problems. If you, the person who asked this question, many people actually asked a similar question, have a problem with me mentioning my medical condition in a channel that literally has my name on it for you to watch for free, don't watch my videos. By the way, let's say I was a mom and I had 3 kids and I would make a video about my goals and I would say, oh, I didn't reach my goals this month because one of my kids was sick. Or if I decided to switch print-on-demand company because this print-on-demand company has more stuff for kids, would you then complain that I bring my kids into this to make money? And as for the affiliate link that I have on the hoodies video for people to open their Fourthwall shop, just so you know, it's technically not an affiliate link because I don't get paid for that. This link gives everyone that wants to open a Fourthwall shop $15 to test out their own merch. And it also gives me $15 to test out merch, which I have used to buy stuff to review for you guys, so you don't have to order everything. So if you have a problem with me giving people $15 so I can get $15 to order things to show you guys, seriously, man, don't watch my channel. And if you think that I can separate a medical condition as severe as mine sometime, which by the way, I'm considered 100% disabled for life in my country, then you're delusional. If you think that people can separate their medical condition and mental condition from their work or from their lives, you really don't know anything about life. And I wish you well. And like I mentioned in a previous video, if this bothers you so much, go eat ice cream, make your day a little bit better, and see a therapist. Moving on to other questions. I love this. I'm so happy I chose to put this in. I get so many smirky questions and comments. I hate those. I use Procreate. What do you create in Procreate? And then what do you do with that? How do you use it in print on demand? How do you make it right size and color? Okay, first of all, at the beginning, I didn't. I just said, oh, look, pretty. And I was just playing around with the designs that I was doing. How do I make it the right size? By knowing what product I want to put it on. And that's not something that I can answer. People told me what size I need to design on Procreate in order to make good products. Well, the biggest? Let's say you're selling on Redbubble or on any platform that you have the pattern or the tiling tool. You can make a seamless pattern that is 3000 by 3000 pixels and that will be fine because it's seamless. If you're selling art, like in terms of an illustration, then what is this illustration going to be on? Because if you want to sell it on wall art, I would recommend the largest poster size or the largest 1:1 ratio size. But if you want to sell it on a yoga mat, then you need to take the yoga mat sizes. So I don't have a clear answer for that. For me, I use Procreate. I make the digital download files that you can find over on Matribe to purchase for your own journeys, and those are usually now the freebies for Patreon. And I also make a lot of my print-on-demand products. I feel like nothing comes to mind right now, so I'm just going to roll them on the screen next to me, the ones that I am making. I make a lot of print-on-demand products from them, and I love those. I love those. And as you can see from the products that I chose to show you, a lot of them are very different in size, in color, in technique, in style. So that's how I use it. How do I make the right color? I make everything RGB. I don't make anything in CMYK. I've spoken about it in a lot of videos, and all of my product reviews that I've done, everything was RGB and not CMYK. If a product usually requires CMYK, I would probably not work with it because I hate working on that color palette. Next, what's your least favorite part of doing print on demand? the repetitiveness, the waiting. Anything that isn't exciting for someone with ADHD? Would you look at that? I mentioned my condition again. Wow. I'm trying to say that I have ADHD to get people to click on affiliate links. Bad. Bad me. So the repetitive parts are parts that I hate, which is one of the reasons why I hated Etsy. Like the whole, I'm going to make this coloring page, and then I'm going to make the mock-up of the coloring page, and then I'm going to list the coloring page, and then I'm going to make another. Can I just make coloring pages and that's it? I hate the repetitive parts. I hate the waiting parts when things are buffering or thinking. I spoke about it in the video that I did for Patreon that came out 2 days ago about my fourth wall tips, that while the product is thinking, like rendering the product and listing it, I basically do the mock-up or work on something. I hate sitting and doing nothing. It's one of my biggest pet peeves with Society 6. I feel like I've stayed on Society 6 a lot because of it was my first. And it was much better 7 years ago. But I hate the repetitive part. I hate waiting. That's the biggest things that I hate with print on demand. Next question, where to put the most energy and time when trying to grow as a side income? In the repetitive part. In the boring part. I told you, I took the questions and I organized them. No, but seriously, it's the repetition. It's being consistent. It's also the consistency in the same niche, which I think I had to put it in the least favorite part of print on demand for me, is doing the same thing. Whether it's repetitive work, uploading, or listing, or if it's repetitive marketing, which I hate. Funnily enough, these are the things that you have to put a lot of energy in if you want to succeed with any kind of side income. The repetitive part work and the part of the work that is consistent. And also, if you want to find a place to put in your most energy, you have to put in your most energy in what works. And I'm going to give a totally different example from fishing. Let's say you go fishing, and there are many places to fish where you live. There is like oceans and a lot of places to fish. And you go fish here, and well, you catch nothing. And then you go to a different location and you catch maybe a fish or two. And then you go to a different location and you catch nothing. And then you go to another location and you catch 10 fish. And then you go to another location and catch nothing, and another location and catch nothing. There is no fisherman in the world that will say, that was an interesting month. Next month, I'm going to go to the same places. No, next month, he's going to go to the place where he found the most fish. And when it comes to print on demand or selling anything online, I often see people doing a mistake that a fisherman would never do. They take the amount of time that they have and they upload designs onto, let's say, 7 marketplaces. Only 2 of them are making sales. Next month, they take the same amount of time and they invest it equally in all of these marketplaces. 2 of them are the ones who are giving you sales. Why do you focus your attention on what doesn't work when you can focus more attention, the time that you have, on what works, or focus on what works in the exact same amount of time and start doing other things to see if they work as well. Same with people who do niches. I don't remember when was that. It was many years ago. I had a client that I was doing consulting for, and they had 12 niches for their Etsy store. And every month they did 2 designs per niche. One of the niches was the one getting them the most amount of sales consistently for a year. And for the life of me, I didn't understand why, instead of doing 2 designs per niche, they're not doing 24 designs for the niche that sells. So put your time in what works. And if nothing works, then you put your time in diversity. That's just my opinion. Another example would be from my world right now with my Fourthwall shop. I actually stopped all the plans of what I wanted to do because someone texted me that they wanted specific things on t-shirts. So I wrote that and then I sent him, and then he made a purchase. And then also other people like those, so they made a purchase. And then it was like, okay, now it's time to put in stuff for Purim or for Passover. But then he sent me another list of things that he wants on t-shirts. So now I'm doing that. Literally, I'm doing what works. I haven't done the blog on that. I haven't worked on Pinterest. Currently, what works for that shop is people who want to buy specific things. and they message it to me. It's actually not the only person. People started messaging to me other than this person. So I'm doing what works. Next question. Trends. How do you select trends, colors, and where do you find out? Okay, so I did some kind of trends, I think, when I was doing my earlier videos here for YouTube. The whole just a girl who likes volleyball, or, these things. I don't really do trends that much when it comes to what is trending on a platform, because I never looked at these marketplaces as a place that will market me. Because one, I had years of working as an Etsy affiliate to see that recommending shops from blogs is what gets them traffic, especially new ones, not shops that are just there and, no one finds them in a marketplace. And two, again, I had blogs. So I could have always written about myself. I never needed to rely on trends on a marketplace. I would, however, rely on Ubersuggest, which is an SEO tool. I don't remember what I was using back then. I don't remember, many, many years ago, and Google Trends and Google Search and a lot of these search tools to see what's trending on Google, to know what to design to write about in my blog, because my blog was based on SEO. Now I'm also searching for what trends on Pinterest to design, because I know I'm going to use Pinterest. So that's what I do for trends. Hey, Meg. I remember this always makes me laugh. I don't know if this is like a typo, an autocorrect, or people think my name is Meg. Hey, Meg. I remember you saying in one of your videos that the main thing that you feel ruined your print on demand journey is the channel. Is the channel. Don't remember in what video it was. Many, many videos. My question is, why? Do you still feel that way? And do you regret opening the channel? Doing this, I was always doing print on demand as a side hustle, as a side thing, because my main job was my blog, and it was a side thing to make money from print on demand, or my main job was to work with clients. I never had the, let's call it, the financial time to just focus on print on demand. I don't really like doing Facebook ads and stuff like that. I like growing my audience, and I never had time for that. And I feel like in many ways, this channel replaced my full-time job or working with clients. And I haven't made the switch to that. But the thing is that when this channel started, everybody was asking questions. And those questions were often about other marketplaces. So I went and checked them out, and I gave myself the worst shiny new thing syndrome from this channel. And when you are being pulled into so many directions, yeah, your business fails. It gets through hard times. One of my blogs got hacked. I will talk about it soon as well. And I haven't done anything remotely as impressive as that blog in the past few years, because I was doing the channel. Do I still feel like this channel has ruined my print on demand journey? Yes and no, because without this channel, I would have never found Fourthwall, and I love them. Do you regret opening the channel? Not for a minute, and every day at the same time. It's hard emotionally, this channel, with a lot of comments and DMs that I get that are not so nice. But it's also emotionally super gratifying when it comes to our community. So maybe no, I don't regret opening it. I think about quitting all the time, but I don't regret opening it. Okay, next up, what was your most successful item? I really hope that I'm going to cut some of this out because this video filming is so long. What was your most successful item that sold the most? Okay, my old Redbubble shop, the things that sold the most were the Mahjong drush, because I literally had someone who was selling them, I think in Vegas or in Boston, and just bought every single month a bunch of them in multiple sizes and in multiple colors. Thank you stickers that I sold in bulks. Like people would buy, like I would have like a thank you sticker pack, and people would just buy a bunch of those. And this is from an Etsy group of people who selling handmade, and just someone was like looking for a thank you sticker, so I designed some. And my penguin socks, and I think the penguin mug or the penguin dresses, because those were on the sidebar of the blog. Actually, everything here was on the sidebar of that blog. That blog, it started, I want to say 2013 or 14, 13, almost like more than 10 years ago. I started that blog, and I had over 2,500 articles when around July, August of 2021, it was hacked. Well, GoDaddy was hacked and I lost everything. Yeah. So yeah, I lost my major traffic bringer to Redbubble. Now, the Redbubble shop, I haven't done much with it other than, for the challenge AI that I did ironically, if people didn't understand. Let's talk about TeePublic. This t-shirt with rainbow cats sold the most. Everything relating to this. A mug, stickers. I think it sold on pins. I think it sold on pretty much everything. It sold on notebooks before the notebooks were removed from TeePublic. The second bestsellers are Am Yisrael Chai and Jewish Lives Matter. I also have in my sellers I Code Hard so my cats can have a better life, and the Muchas Gracias mug. On Society 6, the majority of what I sold were liquid art on pillows and something called the Pastel Birds on Olive Green. This was from my original first store. Like the first time I already deleted it. I don't even remember what it looks like. I think it was like an olive green background, and I think there was like pastel bluebirds or pink ones. And I think a lot of people bought them on that wall hanging thing, that horizontal wall hanging thing. And actually, I made a lot more money in Society 6 affiliating other people than selling my own, or affiliating and getting affiliate commission on my own stuff. So my affiliate commission on Society 6 is always higher than my revenue as an artist. Moving on to Zazzle. Where is it? This notebook is what sold the most. On one side, it says happy thoughts. On the other one, it says sad thoughts. It was featured as staff pick, so it was sold the most. And when it comes to the Fourthwall Shop, the most selling one was this sticker of Star of David stained glass rainbow style and this blanket. The reason I think they sold the most is because I was promoting both of these with photos of me. Either a photo of me with the blanket or a compilation photo of several items and the blanket, or a photo of me with my iPad designing the Star of David. So these were the ones who sold most. Moving on to the next question. It's another nasty one. And this is the nicest version of this nasty question that I could find. I used to like your channel, but now it's like you bring religion into every video. I don't know if you finally found God, or if you're just trying to bring your Jewish agenda everywhere. But come on, this is a channel about making money online, not about you trying to convert people to your fake religion. I have 6 things to say about this. 1. This channel is called May Arroyo, not Make Money with Print-on-Demand Tutorials. So you don't get to decide what my channel is about. I do. 2. I have a print-on-demand Jewish store, and I talk about it on a channel that is what I do, about how I make money. The previous question that was asked, what items do I sell most? Should I have left out the Jewish pieces? Should I have literally left them out of the answer? People are like, oh, you're having a new store? Yeah, I'm using Fourthwall, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's a Jewish store. 3, Judaism isn't fake. It's older than Christianity and Islam. It's actually the base for Christianity. We actually share books together. So, yeah. 4, I didn't suddenly find God. I knew about him all my life. 5, I'm not trying to convert anyone. It's actually really hard to convert to Judaism. If you don't have a good reason, don't do it. Unless you truly believe in the Jewish tradition and the Jewish God. I mean, why would I try to convert anyone? I don't care. 6, why was this never an issue with Christmas tutorials? Or Easter tutorials? I have never gotten a comment about making a video about Easter. Why are you being too religious? So with all the love in my heart, I would say this again. If it bothers you that I'm Jewish, that I'm selling Jewish stuff, please, I beg you, go eat ice cream or something sweet and seek therapy. And again, this was the nicest phrase for this question. Moving on. What do you answer normal people when they ask you what is your job? I told my parents to tell people I'm a graphic designer. I love that you make money from YouTube and print on demand and affiliate marketing and from you being a creative person. My question is, have you always been so creative? And what would you tell young creative people who want to make money from their creativity but are scared or held back by everyone around them? Okay, I don't know about normal people because I live in a town with digital nomads, so everybody here works online, so it's a little bit different. What I would say is that I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, and mostly a product designer. I have a YouTube channel that talks about these topics, and I also have shops featuring these topics. And usually, when someone asks me what I do for a living, I'm wearing something that I made, I'm drinking from a cup that I designed. My notebook is something that I've done, so it's really easy for me to point out, look, like this. I've always been a creative person. I've always liked doing a lot of different things from early childhood. And if someone wants to make money from their creativity but are scared or held back by everyone around them, F that. F that or do it anonymously. That's what I would say. Next question. Best marketing tips when no big follower group or blog. English is my second language, so I use Google Translate a lot and scared of spelling mistakes. Okay, so for the Jewish project that I started, I have had 0 people follow me and I made sales from groups, like posting on other groups. I'm also doing the same now with a cow shop and a lot of my TeePublic stuff as well. If you don't want to or feel like you can't focus on English, do it in your own language. I don't know what your language is. So if your language is a place that doesn't have people who would buy these things, then maybe not. I do know a lot of people who made the switch to blogging in French, blogging in Spanish, blogging in German, etc. Use Pinterest. That's a great place to get traffic, and Instagram Reels. I really need to make that video about how to make really cool Instagram Reels with Placeit. Next question. It would be nice if you chose 7 points of print on demand to compare what you thought then versus now with the aim of pitfalls to avoid. My questions are, if you were starting now, what would be your strategy of growing your business? Which apps do you now consider most helpful for beginners to pay for? There have actually been 2 other phrasing of questions, and to all of them, including this one, I have the same answer. If you had to start today from 0, how would you do it, and what and how did you do it? And what would you do differently if you had to start over with no money, with no fancy tools or paid subscriptions? What platform and methods would you use? I'm not going to answer these questions. I'm going to make videos about them. It's actually going to be 3 videos, probably then and now, like then versus now. Reminds me of like VH1. Anyone? VH1? Then versus now? How to start print on demand. I would probably do something like that. I actually started scripting this with like 4 different starting points for people, and how to start with 0 money. I will try to put it into my March plan. A lot of people also ask the money question. This is the best phrasing that I found for that. I would love to get a straight answer about income. There are too many gurus out there claiming that you can make $10,000 per month selling X product. In the past 7 years, has there been a print-on-demand model or combination of models that made you $3,000 per month? Assuming you did proper marketing, were there marketplaces and or products that made you around $3,000 per month or more, or was it always a side hustle less than $1,000 per month? There are 3 things that I'm going to unpack in this question. One, I'm guessing like $1,000 versus 3,000 is like full-time income versus side hustle. I'm gonna unpack that. 2, the gurus, and 3, the me part of this. So the full-time versus side biz, comparing $1,000 to 3,000. I'm guessing you would be from the US, Canada, Australia, because there are a lot of countries where $1,000 is a full-time income or an amazing income, and $3,000 a month is insane. And just to explain, the minimum wage in Bulgaria is around $350 a month. A month. Also, back when I was living in Thailand, remember the girl I started that drop shipping for fun thing? She was working for a marketing agency. She had a good job. This was 2018. She had a good job comparing to all of her friends. She was able like to live in like a fancy building where I lived and where a lot of the expats did, and she was making a little under $700 a month in her fancy job. $1,000 for her would be to quit her job and make more money than what she did on her fancy corporate job. So, one, I do know a lot of people who upscaled their business from this level to the other level, from this is substituting something for me or a side hustle or allowing me to live in a very cheap country, and upscale it to a higher level. I actually made a video about three of them, giving the examples and their journey. I will try to find it and leave a link to that one down below. And I think that you can do that. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that, whether it's if you have the organic following, because again, you're talking about print on demand, and I feel like a lot of people talk about print on demand and, oh, this is a way to make money. And a lot of the gurus are talking about this like that, when in fact, print on demand is also a way to monetize your existing audience. And if someone is going to have 1 million followers on Instagram and they open a print on demand shop, yeah, they're going to make a full-time living from that. Or if someone is a wizard with the right combination of ads and finding trends online and targeting people on Facebook ads and have the money to start with. So yeah, people can make these amounts. Most certainly, people can make a lot more than $3,000 a month. When it comes to the gurus, the easiest way to make $1,400 a day is print on demand. Bullcrap. There are easier ways than that, and it's not true. It's not true. As a beginner, you'll make more money, I don't know, doing those rides of food. I'm not an American, I don't know. People talk about this all the time. When you drive food to people, you will make more money than that starting out than with print on demand, probably. People who analyze a shop that made $120,000 last year without speaking to the seller, not knowing how much the seller actually made after, the cost of the products, the ads that they spend. Some people buy their designs, pay for a marketing specialist, pay for ads in various platforms. Those gurus are doing these videos for clickbait. My channel would have been much bigger now if I made these kind of videos. If I had a video titled How to Make $20,000 a Month, I would explode on YouTube and I would make more money, because in the niche of how to make money online, you make a lot of money from the ads. This was something that a lot of people told me: you're doing YouTube wrong. Your thumbnails are wrong. You should have a thumbnail like how I made $7,000 with Redbubble last month. And I'm like, that's not true. The majority of these YouTubers are doing it for the clicks. They're doing it because they're selling you the tool that allowed them to do this as an affiliate link. They're selling you their course on their system on how to do this. And notice something. They always somehow, after a few months, make the video about, let's talk about the reality of print on demand. It's not so easy as people would make you think. So many people are telling you that this is easy. Yeah, you have. You have been telling me that this is easy up to 5 minutes ago. So, yeah, a lot of these people are making these videos and giving the most basic information. How to make $25,000 a month. Well, Etsy, it has billions of people buy there. Do you know that you can sell t-shirts there without having a t-shirt? Well, look, here's Printify. You can integrate this with Etsy and make a lot of money. Go ahead. I've seen this video. I don't remember when it was. I think it was like a year or 2 years ago. There was a couple that was talking about how they made $1 million with Etsy per year. I'm not disputing that, by the way. One, they made it in sales, not in profit. The profit was lower, but still awesome. How did they make it? They went on Etsy. They integrated it with a print-on-demand supplier. They chose a niche. They hired a designer, and they did SEO research and sold on Etsy. That's literally all the information they gave in that video. That video had millions of views. And people are like, oh my God, thank you so much for this video. For stating the obvious? They didn't even talk about how they did the research process. They didn't even talk about how they learned SEO. Nothing. But yeah. Now, as for the me part of the question, I actually never tried doing just print on demand. I was always doing something else. I never said to myself, I have enough money to take time off and do just this, or enough money to invent in this. I always took on clients to make rent, and I mentioned that as well in the video about why did all my Etsy shops fail when it comes to print on demand, but mostly with printables. I was always starting something, and then after a few weeks or days, a client came along, and I was focused on the client because I needed to, pay rent. Pay rent was always my first priority. The sales I made with print on demand back then with Redbubble, when I had the blog, and I also had someone who bought the dresses, and that blog was sort of my main job. That was, I think, This was 2018. I think this was 2018 through 2019, and that was around $600 or $800 a month. Not really doing it. I had 20 designs over on my Redbubble store, and I was not updating any designs. I just had repetitive sales from a certain client, and then it started trending in the platform, and also from a blog that I was working on the blog, and this was in the sidebar. It was always a side thing, I think, for me. And this month, if I have to, I actually looked into February. February is considered to be a bit of a slow month. And this month, if I have to calculate all my earnings from all of the print on demand platforms, it would be around $900. But I have done almost no marketing this month, and I really didn't have time to focus on my print on demand as much as I did. So I'm sorry for not being able to tell you that I made $4,000 a month or $5,000 a month when I threw myself into it. I never did throw myself into it. Taking that into account, your question and the question about YouTube, how do I say this? I've known this for a while. I just don't like doing YouTube anymore. YouTube has been the thing that has been affecting my mental health in a very bad way. I've been burnt out more times than I can remember, and I want to focus on my own stuff. I'm living in a country where it's super cheap. I own this place, so I'm not paying rent. If there was ever a time to dump everything in my life and just focus on the niches that I want with print on demand, it's now. I've said it in a video, I think it was June or July when I first came back into this apartment, that I had this sentence that keep coming up to my head. 1st of January 2024, my last video on YouTube, and it's, well, end of February when I'm filming this. I started this channel because I was lonely, I was bored. The majority of my clients literally passed away in the health crisis in 2020. And I wanted to learn video editing. I achieved that. I don't know. I guess my work here is done. I can't even keep a straight face. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, this should have been the video for the 1st of April. I'm kidding, but I'm also not. I've been juggling so many things. I want to focus on my blogs, so I leave the house, so I can't film. But then when I leave the house, I finally interact with people and socialize, so I don't want to work. I have been skipping Christmas sales, like skipping on or skipping out on Christmas sales for, I don't know, 2 years now. That blog that fell through, I haven't set up anything remotely close to that in the last 2 years, 3 years. So I'm going to have a break. Not now. This month is very busy. But I think around Passover, which is mid-end of April, throughout mid-beginning May, I'm going to take a break to plan a lot of things, to work on a lot of things, and mostly to rest and vacation. I want to go to Greece. I want to be on a beach. I want to read a book on the beach, eating at the same restaurant 3 times a day. That's what I want. And I'm going to probably have a silent break after my birthday. So my birthday is always a big thing here on the channel with contests and prizes and stuff. That's the 28th of June. So July, August, and September, I will probably not be making any new videos. What I will be doing in this silent break is I will pre-film those. So a part of my plan for my break in April, May-ish, the 3 weeks break that I want to take, or a month between the middle of April to the middle of May, is to plan all the content for July, August, and September, and also plan time to record all of it so that there will still be content on the channel, there will still be content on Patreon, but I will take a break to solely focus on my print on demand and on my life and where I want to live if it's not here in Bansko. With that, I'm going to quickly move on to what I have in store for you in March, because we have a lot of things coming up, like an Amazon gift card contest and a bunch of videos I want to do. And I'm going to wrap this around very quickly because I'm tired. Goals for March. In terms of videos, I will try to make one product shop that I know a lot of you have been waiting for, selling digital files on Fourthwall versus PayHip, blogging with PayHip, B2B versus B2C, how to film your own print-on-demand products, shop reviews, Hostinger, blogging. I think I will look into the Hostinger website builder blog a little bit more, blogging with PayHip, easy reels and TikToks, t-shirts, pants, wrapping paper, product reviews, April trends, of course, then versus now video for print-on-demand, and can you start print-on-demand with no money at all? That's 14 videos, including this one. So I don't know if I'll make all of them because I also want to make a contest and the winner is going to get $100 Amazon gift card. I think. I haven't finalized it yet. A lot of these videos are videos that I wanted to do in February and I haven't gotten around to those. Now for Patreon, in February, I didn't know what video I want to do for Patreon. I actually asked the patrons on Patreon what video they prefer and they chose all of my tips for Fourthwall Shop, which could also fit, people who sell on Shopify or Etsy even. So I did that video and there was a second, like the runner-up was everything about affiliate marketing. So for Patreon, everything about affiliate marketing is the video of the month. The bundle that the $7 tier got last month was Easter. This month, I think the freebie is going to be connected to the contest. I'm still working on it. I'm still wrapping it in my head. As for my project Cows, my cows shop. Last month, I wanted to finish my Instagram highlights. I didn't. I wanted to finish the blog for launch. I didn't. I did the blog setup, but I didn't finish most of the blog posts for launch. I wanted to work on more products for the shop, which I have done, so I'm happy about that. I wanted to work on Easter products, which I haven't, and I'm skipping Easter. I have a lot of work to do this month, so I'm skipping Easter this year for my own print-on-demand. I will be doing probably some 4th of July products for my cows shop and finish the website. Fourthwall Shop, I wanted to design Purim items and market them. I wanted to design Passover items. I wanted to work on Pinterest. I've done almost none of that. I'm not going to skip Passover. I'm going to work on Passover designs. I'm going to market them just a little bit. I'm going to work on 4th of July designs for the Bidvaro and a little bit about Pinterest. I'm not working on the Bidvaro blog at all. I am rethinking if I want to have a blog for that at all. Because so far, what I noticed worked was groups. So I'm not going to spend time working on a website when what works for me was groups so far. TeePublic. Last month I said that what I want to do with TeePublic is basically take the designs from cows, then the Bidvaro one, and upload those. I'm going to continue doing it this month. I also want to check out Spoonflower a little bit closer and consider replacing it, like replacing Society 6 with Spoonflower. Life stuff that I need to get done in March. Finish reading the book I started last month, which is How to Be Perfect. I love that book. Moral philosophy. I actually ordered a lot more books. I want to register my apartment to pay city bills and city taxes. Well, not want to, but need to in March. And I need to finish organizing my apartment. I have started organizing it, cleaning it. It's not fully done yet because the 1st of April is going to be a full apartment tour with the most amount of print-on-demand products I think you've seen ever in this apartment. There will be like my print-on-demand apartment tour. Now, I don't know what more to say in this video. First of all, thank you to anyone who submitted their questions. Even the smirky ones. It was nice having it in this video. And thank you for anyone who's watched so far. I'm looking at the timestamp of how much this video is before editing, and my God, it's long. So thank you if you stuck out till now. Seriously. I would like to wish you a happy month of March. Any comments down below on anything would be welcomed. I love reading what you guys want to do when it comes to goals, even if I'm not always responding, or anything that was shocking to you in what I said. There will be like videos. I'm moving myself. Look, 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 look. There will be videos on the screen right now that relate to one thing that I spoke about throughout this entire video, which was why did all my Etsy shops failed? I feel like it's a very relatable video to a lot of the things that I mentioned. And also the video with this sweatshirt, which is the embroidery print-on-demand show and tell that I know a lot of people have been waiting for. But with that being said, that was it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new. Thank you for 3 years on YouTube, 7 years of print-on-demand. more than 10 years of blogging and affiliate marketing. You guys rock, seriously, if you reach this point. And as usual, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!